Hey, sports fans, Larry Eater, Conversations with Larry. This is RunBlogRun. We're in San Jose, California, sitting in my dad's office in his chair with his cool desk in front of me and all the family pictures for 44 years around me. So it's kind of a fun place, and I can kind of hear him laughing in the background. He loves sports, big fishing guy, learned to love track and field because my brother and I ran, and loved soccer. Enjoyed tennis. My sister Beth played, but really enjoyed, was very proud when Brian and I went to the Olympics, and Brian and Adam and Mike and I went to the Olympics in 2012, and he got a real charge out of it. So kind of cool stuff, but excuse me. Today I'm going to talk about Shalane Flanagan. In fact, this is called In Praise of Shalane Flanagan. First of all, I love Shalane Flanagan. Have watched her run. And here's the thing. This woman has a drive. She's always had a drive. But I've learned more from her when she's had a failure and what makes her tick and why she is the way she is than when she wins. In college, she had a bad NCAA cross-country race. She dusted herself off, came back, and people wondered how she was going to do. And I remember watching her against, she was at the New Balance Indoor. It was a 5,000 meters, and she stuck with Tierney Tababa. Maybe it was Messeret. She stuck with one of the Ethiopian women in a 5,000 meters. And I was just like going, where is this coming from? I think she ran like 14:47 at the time, which was pretty impressive, 14:44, 14:47. And I'm just going, wow, she's got some stuff. I always thought she was good at 5. I thought she was much better at the 10. And then when Jerry Schumacher and her moved her up to the marathon, I was curious about that. That 2:21 in Berlin was pretty impressive. The Olympic trials in 2016, where she literally collapsed at the finish line, teared me up, showed me the ferocity, which we had seen a few other times. I remember her first marathon was in 2010 in New York, and she took second, and she was pissed off. She was not happy with second. And the guys are kind of giving her a little bit of shit from the club, Bowerman, and they knew how to mess with her and to get under her skin. She could handle it. She dealt with the guys well, and she came back and continued to improve, and continued to improve. Her performances, her win in New York was spectacular. I think that it was as close as I can remember to the glory years of the 1980s in New York, with Greta, with Alberto, with the whole crew, with Rod Dixon. She brought that back. I remember in 2017 at the finish line with one of the Fox Sports broadcasters who normally broadcast football and other sports, and came up to me, knew that I was from RunBlogRun, and said, hey, can you give me a 3-minute update on Shalane? And I just went by, boom, 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 boom. And the person said later, wow, her career's all been about building up to this. I said, well, I think that's a good way of looking at it. Shalane's gone from being a top elite athlete to a coach, a mom, and then she comes up with this crazy thing where she's going to run 6 marathons in 7 weeks. You know, she starts out in Berlin, She goes to London a week later. Then she does Chicago and Boston within 24 hours. And her whole rule was, I'm going to break 3 hours in all these things. Well, she was only over 240 twice, 246 in Chicago, 240 in Boston. She does that virtual for Tokyo I think it was 235, and then she comes back and runs a 233.34, her fastest of the whole series in New York. And New York is not a fast course. Trust me. I ran it in 1986. It was not a fast course. It beats you up. Those last 6 miles are horrific. That she did it just shows her tenacity. Obviously in great shape. I'd love to see her do a 50-miler. Obviously shows that the new Nike product, like a lot of the brands, gives people's legs a break and allows them to actually continue running and racing for the whole distance, which is a big deal. But I think it's about her heart. I think more than anything, Shalane Flanagan is one of those people who put everything out on the track. And now she's found new things to do. She's got 2 lovely children. She coaches. She has other pursuits. Her cookbooks are fantastic. So hats off to Shalane Flanagan. Shalane, you're on my pinball team. I do want to find a chance to interview you and talk about your sport, but there's much more to you than that. And that's the thing that's kind of cool too. And with all those things, taking your little guy around, boy, that messed me up. I love that. So love the Instagram that Courtney White was doing for you. That journey was, Courtney's a fine photographer and should get more recognition than she gets right now. Between her, some of the things that How Lau did, and a few of the other photographers, Kevin Morris, a real hats off. And congratulations on 6 marathons in 7 weeks, with your slowest one being a 246 and your fastest one being a 233.34. Pretty cool. Shalane Flanagan, we think you're awesome. This is Larry Eater at RunBlogRun. This is Conversations with Larry. Thank you for viewing and listening. Thanks, Mike Deering, for putting up with me as our production manager.